So I'm going to try to do about 30 book summaries in 30 minutes. So 1 minute covering each book that I have here in front of me. I'll do my best, but check them out. Let's randomly choose one. Whatever I touched here. Okay, Speed Reading with the Right Brain. I love this book because one, at the end of each chapter has little mini exercises that you could do. He already pre-counted the words to see, to have you apply the stuff live, to have you apply the techniques live. So one thing that is unique about this book, because I've read over 10 plus speed reading books, is that you need to really focus on speed comprehension, which is just speed thinking. So how do you do that? You need to visualize and activate the right side of the brain a little more, because most of us, when we read, we just focus on the sound. And then from there, we interpret that sound into meaning, versus why don't you just visualize it? And that's the hack. But to go a step beyond that, that I'll say to add on to this book is when some phrases you can't visualize. Like, let's say, I felt extremely depressed. Let's pretend that's hard for you to visualize. Now you need to experience that emotionally. That's still right side of the brain. That's the emotion. Okay, so when we feel the reading at the emotional level, that will help you. So I really love this book. This guy kind of does make some assumptions with the book in terms of how fast you can actually read. So there are a lot of these speed reading books, because it's on the brink of scientific, just what scientists don't really understand and can measure reading comprehension. Reading is one of the most complex things that the brain can do. But that's enough said about this book. Let's choose another one randomly. I'll go way over here. Okay. Secrets of Question-Based Selling. So I love this book specifically for those who don't know selling, let's talk about it. Okay. The misconception that the best sellers ask good questions that determine, hey, look, I don't even know if this is for you. So let me ask you a couple questions, and then from there, I'll tell you whether this product is something that you need, because I'm not going to sell you something that you're not going to need. Does that sound okay? So another reason I like this book is that it's, of course, you need to challenge the customer's thinking by first challenging your own, and you challenge your thinking by reading this book. So if you want to become better at sales, everyone's a salesperson. You're selling every day. You're just either neglecting it or not. One thing this book brings up is that there are 3 things that determine whether someone's going to do business with you. It's the product's brand, the company, and the salesperson. So those are 3 things. Now determine what percentage of that is dependent upon the salesperson. Okay, so they show an image of it's 33%, 33%, 33%. That's an even spread, but that's not the real world. So think about it. What is your guess? Well, more than 67% of it is based on the salesperson, because the salesperson can provide a long laundry list of things that the company and the product cannot provide. Okay, so I said brand, but it's actually product, company, and the salesperson. The salesperson can provide empathy, understanding, companionship, understanding, all these things that a company and a product just can't do. That's why, because some people think, why do I need to talk to a salesperson? Can't I just go and buy on the screen and things like that? But for very high ticket products and things like that, because if you think about it, not everything is just Amazon shopping list. There are things that are like 7-figure, 8-figure deals. Someone's buying a business. You need to talk to somebody. Okay. Secrets of Question-Based Selling also has just a long list of questions that you could read and get through to see that, oh, okay, that's a connecting question. That's a clarifying question. That's a qualifying question. All these really fun things. This was recommended by Jeremy Lee Minor. Okay, I'm behind. That's 2 books, and it's already been 4 minutes. Let's talk about Unreasonable Hospitality. Unreasonable Hospitality, Will Garda. So with this book, they bring up the story of a man who has a restaurant and what they did to go above and beyond to serve their customers. One thing that they would do is they'd listen to what the customers liked and enjoyed. And if they could provide something that was very meaningful but did not cost a lot of money, they'd go do that. So if they need to go run across the street to grab them their favorite ice cream, or they hear that, hey, we're out of this certain food, let's go out and grab that for them. Let's leave them a thank you card. What can you do for your business to go above and beyond what most people do? Okay, because most people don't go that deep or that intimate. All right. Unreasonable Hospitality. I love that book. Another thing that he brought up is that, they would have people who are very creative and would just think about, okay, how could we do what no other restaurant is doing for our customers, right? How much time do businesses really spend to do that? Not many, but if you can be that one, you will stand out. Another thing is that customers will, I think around 70% of customers will pay more for better customer service, for a better experience. Okay, fun stuff. Next book is Blue Ocean Strategies. Is essentially a red ocean is where there's a lot of competition. Blue ocean, not a lot of competition. So in order for you to do that, let's say you're a wine company, that's what they brought up here, is look at their metrics that they really, really compete on and don't even compete there. So one thing these wine companies do is really go, okay, we're doing 20, 30, 40-year-old wine. Don't even go there because you're not going to win. Go somewhere else. One thing, I forgot the name of it, but they sell this wine to beer drinkers at Walgreens, and that's a blue ocean. They had no competition because they have completely different success metrics, okay? Like for me, my speed reading business, speed reading courses, very low ticket. I'm not focused on that. I focused on what do speed reading courses, what can they not provide? They can't provide a person that will really care for you, listen to you, and talk to you, things like that. 3 books. No, those 4. Next book, let's talk about Made to Stick. So they also did the book Contagious. And in this book, Made to Stick, they have an acronym, success. So it's simple, unexpected, concrete. I could find it. But essentially, they give you a framework so then you have ideas that stick, stories that stick. And this book has so many stories. This book would have a story, and you'd read it, and you're like, okay, that's bland. And then they apply the framework, and you read the story again, you're like, oh my gosh, this story was much more captivating, much more riveting. I need to apply this to my business. So one story that they bring up was a story. I actually don't have the time to tell you the story, but essentially they tell such a good story at the start about a guy who loses his organs. He gets them harvested. So that's a story I always like to share from this book. And if you read this book, you'll have that story. You can tell other people, and they're like, wow, that is really good. Oh, here it is. So it's simplicity, unexpectedness, concreteness, credibility, emotional, and stories. Okay, because stories is just a mix of logos, ethos, and pathos to get people hooked. Okay, because facts don't work. Have you ever told a story or told something where people are just like, okay, whatever? You need to read this book. Let's talk about, this book, I don't have much to say about it. There are better books about storytelling, but Building a Story Brand. Donald Miller. He has a nice little website that you can go on to fill this stuff out, but essentially follow the hero's journey framework. And when you read this book, you will see every movie does this, right? Disney, all these different things where it's like, okay, you have a hero, you have a villain, they started somewhere, they have a mission, they give up, they talk to a higher power, they go, they conquer, they win, they transform, all these different things. And then now, how do you apply that storytelling method to your business to really speak to your people? Let's see. The Road Less Stupid. I love The Road Less Stupid because you're not asking the right questions to get to where you want to be in life. So solution, read this book, which is kind of like talking to a CEO. Because when you talk to a CEO, you talk to a consultant, all they're doing is hitting you with questions that you should have already asked yourself, but you didn't because that's why you're paying the guy, right? So this book is written by Keith J. Cunningham, who has read a book a week for almost 20 years now. And what I've noticed with these leaders is they read a lot. And at the end of each chapter, yes, sure, speed read the book. But when you get to the questions, you need to spend time and write out answers to these questions, and you'll realize this is a book you will be coming back to time and time and time again, right? So another book, yes, I love this one. I highly resonate with this one. Thank you, Sam, for this one, which is The Challenger Sale. So problem, there are a lot of different personalities of selling. Another problem is that certain personalities in selling make way more money than the others. So with you and your reading, I talked to someone with reading, they're like, David, I like to read slow. So instead of saying, okay, I'll leave you. It's good that you like to read slow. What I need to do is challenge them and say, hey, you know what? Are you open to the fact that you're wrong and that that's not helping you? So that's the challenger. And the challenger makes more money as well. And they have more breakthroughs. Because if you think about it, leaders challenge their people because they know they could help them. But being soft, beating around the bush doesn't help anybody. It just helps you feel good. But at the end of the day, you don't feel good because you could have helped this person and now really they're suffering. Okay, so challenge your sale. You need to challenge people and challenge their thinking. You need to go head to head sometimes. Okay, some of you might be thinking, well, back it up with value, back it up with logic, back it up with stories, and you're okay. Many times have I talked to someone about speed reading, they're like, no, not interested. I was like, are you open to the idea that you're wrong? You see these guys over here reading a book a week. Aren't you curious why they do that? They make more money than you. People who read more books make more money. Right? So boom. Next, you're gonna like this one. The mind control method, the Silva method. So Jose Silva had an amazing course back then, which would help people trigger their brains. Because right now you're listening to this, you're probably in the beta brainwave state. What does that mean? That means you're more activated in the prefrontal cortex. But if you learn how to activate the alpha states of your brain, you will be learning faster, your brain is more malleable, you're getting in more flow states. So one thing that this book brings up is like, okay, if you want to practice, right when you wake up, let's say you go to the bathroom, pee, whatever, then go back in your bed, and we want you to go count backwards from 100 to 1, and each time you have a pause of 2 seconds, okay? And you counting forwards instead of backwards is keeping your mind occupied. Keeping your mind occupied, and that's a way to help you get into alpha states. Also, right when you wake up, you shouldn't be going on your phone because your brain is most likely in alpha states, which means you're more suggestible, which is once again why they say do morning affirmations, not go on your phone and scroll affirmations, because that is programming your mind. You should not be feeding your mind that, okay? You should be feeding your mind books. Okay. Let's continue. Are we on track? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 in 13 minutes. I am behind. Okay. Doing the Impossible by Steven Kotler. Do you want to learn how to get in flow states? Do you want to be a high performer? He has, I think it's chapter 11, the ROI of reading. If a high performance coach is telling you you should be reading books because books are more efficient for getting information in less time, for your memory, your retention, boosting your brain's ability to just be a high performer, maybe you should consider reading more books and reading this book. Do you want to avoid burnout? Do you want to have more output for your input? Read this book, okay? Flow Research Collective. Next one is Jennifer Gitomer. I love her book because has the power of networking, sales, how to do sales in a New York minute, all those things. Do you want to learn sales from someone who lived in New York, which is probably, no, I know it is a very hard place to do sales because people are just it's just a faster life there. People are more abrasive and difficult. I love this book. I really do love this book because I had issues with networking or how do I meet people, how do you make sales. This book is wonderful. Thank you so much, Jennifer. I met her as well. I need to go faster. Let's go. The Way of the Wolf. This book talks about tonality. It talks about straight line selling, talks about looping, breaks down stories of why you should have a script and why a script is important. Okay, now some people say, oh, well, a script, that's just going to throw you off. You're not going to come off as a person. of course, you need to adapt and things like that, but having a baseline of something that's worked thousands and thousands of times, because when you scale and have a sales team, there you go. Laws of Human Nature. I love this one. Packed of stories. It also has the book, the smaller version, The Concise Laws of Human Nature. Talks about narcissism, personas. Talks about Joseph Stalin, how crazy he was. I need to keep moving. Super speed reading secrets. Howard Berg. I love this one. It does get kind of technical. But one thing he brought up that I really like is mental focusing. How certain breathing techniques you could do to help you boost your reading speed, comprehension, all these other things, okay? Let's talk about the Little Black Book of Connections. I love this one because do you want to become a better networker? Do you want to be better at building relationships? Do you want to have a brand where now people are coming to you and it's amplifying your networking? If so, then yes. Little Black Book of Connections is what you want to read. Also has an amazing assessment inside of it that you need to take. Jeffrey Gitomer, met the guy. He signed that book for me and several others. I love all their books. All right, fanatical prospecting. Jeb Blount. Not enough people are cold calling or just checking in on people. This is something you need to do for your business or just life in general. How many times have you just scrolled through the contacts in your phone and just called? Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? It's a compliment. I've had people where I've called them so many times, then they finally pick up. It's like, hey, thank you so much for calling and checking in on me. I love your persistence. Instead of just saying, hey, F you, right? Rarely does that happen. And if it does, now you know who you don't want to talk to. All right, let's grab more books over here. Man, I don't want to make this video too long. Okay, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. I love this book because it dispelled so many things for me in terms of just how the universe works. Or why, have you ever felt like your thoughts of today happened yesterday, the day before that, day before that, day before that? Don't you want to break the habit of being yourself? This book talks about it. Have you ever wondered why people meditate and just sit there and think about nothing? This book will show you why they do that, and you will be so compelled to meditate, and then you'll get the benefits, and then you'll be changing your life. This book talks about the universe all the way down from, you know how people talk about manifesting and it sounds like a load of BS and doesn't make sense. He breaks it down scientifically. I'm very logical. I thought that stuff was BS, like The Secret, all those things where it just sounds like, oh, so people are, oh, wow, they have their little stupid thing. Well, he breaks it down to the atom. He's talking about the observer effect. So if you're in physics and you've ever wondered, why are these people so loony and like so excited about this spiritual stuff? This guy explains it so well. And I've seen so many people that I've recommended this book change their lives. And he has two other, so I read all three of Dispenza's books in 3 weeks, and I've never seen the world the same since, okay? This is like, I recommend this book 99% of the time to people. For those who read it, good job. The Memory Book by Harry Lorraine, Memory Makes Money. So after this book, I was like, wow, okay, I'm remembering way more faces to their names. I'm memorizing phone numbers, because here's the thing, you actually have unlimited memory space. Your techniques for retention and recall are poor. You don't have a poor memory, you just have an untrained one. Rich habits. You want 10 habits that are proven by research that rich people do that you don't. One of them is that 85% of self-made millionaires read a minimum of 2 books per month. Okay, The Obstacle is the Way. I love this one. Talks about Theodore Roosevelt, one of my favorite people in history. And essentially, if you have things that you want to accomplish, just literally look at the obstacle and go straight to it. You want to talk to more girls, just go straight to what's difficult, talking to them. That's it. It's not stepping away from it, just go straight to the money. Okay, let's talk about one more, and it's contagious. It's over there. Fine, I'll grab the book for you. Oh, right. Contagious. So, contagious. Why do you want people to listen to you? Why do you want ideas that stick? Why do you want stories that sell? If that's something that's important to you, you should read this book. Why do some ideas catch like wildfire, and how does word of mouth spread? Okay, so one thing that they bring up is if you can engineer and hack this for your life, you don't need to spend a lot of money on ads. It's just you have such a great product that people talk about it, share it, and it spreads. Like, how many things have you bought where you actually like called a friend, asked a friend about it, versus watching an ad? Do we spend, a lot of people still spend money on what their friends recommend. Okay, so how do you hack that? How do you engineer that? Let's look at Snapple. Snapple did it with their bottle caps where people would like share a fact. So where'd you get that from? Oh, from a Snapple. I would love a Snapple just because someone shared something. Okay, so where in your business can people recognize something or hear a story that people just have to share because it brings value? Okay, all right, that's not all the books out here, but I didn't want to make this video too long. Thank you for listening. Book summaries. If you want more or any specific book, tell me what that book is. If I don't have the book, send it to me and I will read it and do a review just for you. Cheers.